I came to talk to you about one thing this morning, and that is bold. It's a class that I want to tell you about, but I want to back up for just a quick second because I don't know all of you, and most of you don't know me. I joined Keller Williams 10 years ago. I'm in my 10th year with KW at Keller Williams Realty Redstick Partners, where your license is. And I was Rookie of the Year my very first year. That's simply because I had some really great people that poured into me and still pour into me, because no one succeeds alone. You all know that.
By the way, Jabari represented the Rookie of the Year on this team, guys.
That's exactly right. Jabari Craig got Rookie of the Year for Keller Williams. That means he sold more real estate than anybody else in their first year. So that's just absolutely incredible. I did that the first year, and then I sold real estate. I was in production for a few years, 3 or 4 years, and while I was doing that, this class, Bold, which is taught nationally, came to Baton Rouge, and the director of Bold was the coach. And at the end of that 7-week class, he asked me to consider being a Bold coach. And I just want to give y'all some perspective. There are about 150,000 Keller Williams real estates across the country, real estate agents, and there are only 40 that are Bold coaches. And he asked me if I would consider being a Bold coach. So I started to do that and traveled all over the country teaching Bold. And then at some point, pretty quickly, he asked me to only do that. And I said, so I wouldn't do production? And he said, no. That was really frightening for me because that was what I was good at, and that's what I knew. And so I started coaching Bold full time. Bold, let me give you a little bit quick history. In 2008, 2009, the market crashed, which was the last big shift that we had. Some of you all remember that, some of you don't. It was when the market absolutely crashed. Now you got to get this in your head here. You all are a part of Keller Williams Realty Redstick Partners, which is one office. So like Capital One Bank has branches, Keller Williams has what's called market centers. And there are 800 market centers around the United States. Our market center is number 192. There's one in Prairieville, there's one in Denham, there's one in Shreveport and Alexandria and Lafayette and Lake Charles, and they're all over the Gulf Coast, they're all over the country. There's 800 of them. During that shift, 75% of our market centers were not profitable. Now let me just ask you, if 75% of you were not profitable month after month after month after month, what happens to you?
Get out of business, man.
You go out of business. You got to go find a job. By the way, don't do that. You have an awesome place right here. 75% of the market centers were not profitable. So the CEO of all Keller Williams went to a lady who was a coach named Diana Cocosta and said, I need you to write a course that would help our agents get back into production in this market. And so she did, and those market centers rebounded, and that course has been taught now for 16 or so years, and almost 300,000 have graduated. I know Brittany has graduated from Bold. Who else in here has graduated from Bold? All right, this is a huge opportunity, you all. She called it Business Objective, a Life by Design. The whole course was designed for you to live the life that you want. Not by default, a life by design. I'll tell you the difference. Life by design means you create what you want. Life by default is, well, I guess that's just how life is. Well, y'all don't live that way. You create the life that you want, you design the life that you want, and you go live into that. So the whole objective of business objective, is a life by design, not by default. The whole objective of what you do here is to make a whole lot of money so that you can live the life that you really want to live, right? It's not just to get by month after month. If you could close your eyes and wipe and do like a magic wand over it, what would that look like for you? What would you be doing? Where would you be going? What are the things that you'd be giving to, that you'd be enjoying? So the life that you really want. So this course was written, yes, to help you sell more real estate. It was also written to help you grow as a person. So let me ask you this. Do you believe that your business grows to the extent that you do as a person? Huh? Yeah. So here's what I want you to look at this. Watch my hands. Your business is right here, Richard. Might be your business is wherever that is. I don't know where your business is. I'll guarantee it's because you are here. And that business is never going to go above that until you go here. Does that make sense? The more you grow, the more you work on you, the more you get better at being you, the more your business grows. Think of all the times in your life when you made something that went to the next level. It was somebody that was pouring into you to help you get better. The more you grow, the more your business grows. And the less you grow, it's just going to stay there like that. Bold was designed to help you grow personally and professionally. So I started coaching Bold all around the United States. I did that for 5 years full time. I've been everywhere from Washington State to Florida, Pennsylvania, California, everywhere in between. I've had this huge privilege of meeting incredible agents all across the United States. The top agents in all of Keller Williams have done this course at least once. Now, let me back up. Gary Keller started this 41 years ago. He was divorced, y'all, living in an apartment on a mattress. And he started Keller Williams, and it grew. It is now the largest real estate company on the planet. And Gary says every year, every KW agent ought to do 3 things minimally. They ought to go to family reunion, which is always in February, national event, 20,000 realtors will be there. It goes to different cities, Anaheim, Orlando, Dallas. Last year it was in Vegas. And Mega Camp is always in August. That's about 8,000 or 9,000 agents. It's always at the headquarters in Austin, Texas. This year it happens to be in San Antonio. And the third thing that he says to do every year is to take Bold. We have an agent in our office, Michelle Noblock. Anybody know Michelle of Capital Home Special? She's done Bold 12 times. She's done Bold 12 times because every single time she takes it, she sells more real estate and she grows as a person. She becomes a better person and her business goes to the next level. It's not informational, although it's somewhat. It's more transformational. Your growth is going to become when you decide to be transformed and to grow. Does that make sense? So, I coached this class along with all those other coaches until about 1.5 years ago. I left there, y'all, because the airports were awful. I was on 6 airplanes every single week. Every single week, our 3 kids are grown and gone, and so I don't miss anything. And Stacy's like, yes, please go. She's glad when I get on the plane to go. She has the house to herself. And then about 1.5 years ago, the airline tickets went through the roof. Delays were common. And what became norm was cancellations. And the crowds were ugly. And I said, you know what? I'm good. So I left Bold and became the team leader out of her office. And I called my coach, whose name is Tammy, and she is now the director of all of Bold. And I just want you to follow me on this. I called her 1 year ago about right now. And I said, I do want us to do Bold again, but not until Bold gets better. Because to be quite honest, and I can say this as I was a coach, Bold kind of ran its course. It got digital, and then it just went, right? It was meant to be in person. And I said, I've talked to the other 2 market centers, Prairieville and Denham. We want to wait till probably next year, but I want us to get it back to what Baton Rouge Bold. Y'all, Baton Rouge Bold used to be the premier location in the country. They always send us the very best coaches, always, for 10 years. I remember being in Bold in June of 2019 and Julie Jenkins, y'all know who that is? She stood up, there were 250 people in the room. She said, y'all look around, it's never been like this. Bold peaked in the summer of 2019 and then COVID hit. So I called my coach who has influence and I said, I really want us to get back to that. She said, well, what do we need to do then? I said, well, if I could get you or if I could get Scott Toombs. And she said, well, let's talk about that. So we weren't going to do it for 1 year, and then I was at Mega Camp last summer in August, and I found out that Gary took Bold back. His favorite thing is coaching. It's his passion. And he had seen what happened to Bold, and so he took it back. He said, I'm taking this back. And he rewrote it last summer. Now what he did was he got with 5 people. You all know Jay Papasan, who wrote the books with Gary. He wrote MREA and Shift and The One Thing. And Cody Gibson, who's not in Gary's top 100, he's in Gary's top 10. And now he's the president of all of Maps Coaching for KW. The 3 of them and 2 others got together to rewrite all of Bold. And they sat down the very first day. Mikey's heard me tell him this. They sat down the first day to rewrite it, and the first thing Gary said was this: all right, folks, we're not going to rewrite Bold. And they went, wait, what? Like, you said we were going to rewrite Bold. And he said, nope, here's what we're going to do. We're going to pretend like there was never Bold. Y'all, Bold is a huge institution in KW. He said, we're going to pretend like there was never Bold. And if we were to write a course to help agents thrive in this market right now, what would we write? And that's what he wrote. Everything from page 1 to the end is brand spanking new. In fact, what's in it, y'all, is everything that Gary is teaching his top 100 right now. Everything that Gary's been teaching his top 100 is it is authored by Gary. I don't know if anything Gary's ever authored that wasn't a smash hit. So I called Tammy and I said, listen, we really want to do Bold again. We want to do it next spring. I've talked to the other 2 team leaders and we'd like to do Bold next spring. And she said, okay, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I'd like to have you or Scott Toombs. And she said, well, fortunately, unfortunately, or fortunately, I'm not coaching anymore. I'm running the program. And I said, okay. And she said, however, I did talk to Scott for you already. Y'all, I just want you to know Scott Toombs is literally not an opinion. It is the #1 coach in all of the Bold coaches. I asked for Scott Toombs because he is truly the #1 Bold coach of every coach. That's not my opinion. That's the statistics. That's the numbers. That's the reviews. He is absolutely fantastic. He's done over 150 Bolds for the last 11 years. So she said, I've talked to him, and he said, absolutely, I'll go to Baton Rouge. And I said, oh my goodness. I called Tanya Toombs-Gotro at Prairieville, and she said, Flint, you got Scott Toombs? Like everybody in our region, when I saw him at the regional gathering a few weeks ago, they were like, you got Scott Toombs? Because you just don't ask like that. You just don't get to request. But I had pull. Still. I did that for 5 years. And so I called and I simply said, could we have Scott? All they could say is what?
No.
Right. By the way, I'll step out of this for a minute. Just pick up the phone. Just pick up the phone when you're at an open house. Would you be interested in putting in an offer? Just ask, y'all. You'd be surprised that people are wanting you to say, are you ready to move forward? They need you to have give them courage to move forward. So anyway, Scott calls me. He says, I'm so excited about coming. We have literally the #1 coach in the whole United States teaching Bold now. All I want to ask you to do is open your mind and go out on a limb and trust and jump into this course. It starts next Monday. It's for 5 Mondays. It's 1 day a week. It used to be 7 weeks. Now it's 6. We had the introduction last week. It starts next Monday for 5 straight Mondays from 8:30 to 3. It's at the Board of Realtors in that big room. Right now, there are almost 75 people that are in the course enrolled. Mikey is one of them. He paid the $7.99 and enrolled in the course. So here's what I want you to hear you say. Yes, it is $7.99. Turn to your person sitting next to you and say, yes, it's $7.99. Right? It is $7.99. It's $799 for a class. I want you to hear this. I really want you to hear this, Trey. Hear this, y'all. $7.99. So let me ask you this. If I were to ask you right now, Beatrice, if I were to ask you to give me $800 right now, and I gave you $1,000 right back, would you do that?
Oh yeah.
What if I gave you $2,000 back? Yeah. So here's the facts. Here's the stats. The average number of contracts written, listen. The average number of contracts written during Bold is 11.5. That's not a projection of what might happen. That might not be, well, hey, if you do a good job, you might write this. Y'all, this is a report of what is. Just like in CSU, it showed you how many closings you've had. That's not a theory. It is a report of what's actually happened. All over the United States, 11.5 on average contracts written per agent in Bold. So what would 11.5 contracts do for you right now? Now that's not, well, that may be other people, not me. If it was just us in that class, just us, we would average 11.5 contracts per agent. So take out your calculator. Everybody has to do this. Take out your calculator. Don't wait for somebody else to do it. And then I'm almost done. I want you to write this. I want you to type this out. What's the average selling price? Anybody in Baton Rouge area? What's the average selling price?
Let's use our team. Ours is $285.
$285. What's the average commission?
2.5%.
Do 285,000 times 0.025. What do you get?
$7,125.
What did it say? 7,125 multiplied times 11.5. Yes. Not maybe, yes. Yes. That's the gospel truth, y'all. That's not a maybe. That actually happens in bold. Okay, so say you're a little bit skeptical. Just do 71.80. Was it 71.80? Is that what it was? 71.25. Thank you. 71.25. Do half that. Do 5. That's less than that. Do 71.25 5. So maybe you're a little skeptical. Do 71.25 by 3. Y'all are going to do more than 5 or 6 or 7 contracts during that 5 weeks. I promise you will. If you do 2 things. Look, Bolt can do a lot for you. The W group can do a lot for you. A lot for you. Do you believe that? You join this team because you believe it can do a lot for you. You're going to school and being on this team because you believe it can do a lot for you. Y'all, Bolt can do a lot for you, but listen. There's 2 things that it cannot do for you that you got to bring to the table. Same way with the W group. They can do a lot for you. You can do a lot for you. There's 2 things W group cannot do for you and Bolt can't do for you that you got to bring to the table. Number 1, the desire to grow. I can't make you have the desire to grow. You either show up on Monday at 8:30 or you don't, and that says a whole lot about you, doesn't it? If you want to be on the LSU baseball team, you show up. There are 1,000 kids that want to be on the team. They don't have to recruit. People just come wanting to be on the team because it is a national championship team. Y'all are nationally ranked. I can't, and the W can't make you have the desire to grow. You've got to bring it. Number 2, the commitment to the activities. You got to be committed to the activities. I can't make you committed to the activities. You got to get up, put your boots on, get on the telephone. You got to get up, put your boots on, go do the open house. You got to get up, put your boots on, and read some books. You got to get up and drive the car and listen to the podcast. You got to do the activities. You've got to do the basic activities to sell the real estate that you want to sell. If you do that in bold, you will do 11.5 contracts. I don't know where you are in your business right now. I know there's 75 people that will meet every Monday in that room that are already fully registered. Mike is one of them who will be in that room. He has no clue what bold is. No clue. Why would he trust that? Somebody raise your hand and tell me, why would he trust that? Why would he trust that? Why would he sign up for something he has no clue what it is? Well, say that again. The numbers don't lie. Y'all, when it comes to success in this business, the path is in the math. The path is in the math, and the math doesn't lie. You show up for the next 5 weeks, and you will do that. So if I gave you, Beatrice, if you gave me $799, and I gave you how much?
$725.
And how much was that times 11.5? Let's do 5.
81 grand.
Yeah, 81.
Yeah. Tens of thousands, I don't know. It's not 52 Mondays, it's 5. It's 5 Mondays. Bowl is $7.99. Trey's going to talk to you real quick about how that might look for you to pay for that. Questions? I need to stop because I'll go on all day long. Questions about anything that I just said, or questions about bold? What questions do you have?
I want to do it.
Is there a link?
Awesome. Is there a link? Yes, I'm going to text.
No, it's not this Monday.
No, next Monday.
It is. It's next Monday.
It's coming next Monday.
Yeah, we'll be out of town for Easter.
Let me ask you this, Whitney. If you miss next Monday and you'd only do 4 of the 5, is there more value in 4 or 0?
Oh, no, I'm down for that. I just didn't know if I'd be
Yeah,
allowed.
you can absolutely can. Absolutely you can.
Your notes.
Gotcha.
Absolutely you can.